So, like I said, it doesn't look like that. The two dogs, the American Bulldog and the Standard Bulldog, they're not reflecting the breeds that went in. They're not the same dogs. But the dogs are coming back 100%. A game bred pit bull and a Staffordshire Terrier, American Staffordshire Terrier. These dogs are the same dogs. You get some enthusiasts that say, no, they're not the same dogs. They're not the same dogs. They're not the same. They're the same dogs. One was used as a show dog. One was used as the gladiator. It is what it is. Now, all those dogs were bred correctly too, but we get it. But in 1930, there was a separation, and some of the game dogs went into the dog show, and the name changed. That's all it changed, the name. DNA is not going to change because you changed the name. I'm going to say that again. DNA is not going to change because you changed the name. It's still the same dog. Just one is not bred to, to do the functionality of what the dogs used to do. And then you have some dog men that jump up and say, well, they're not the same dogs and this and that and the third. So any pit bull that can't live up to the expectation of the game dog, and they are game dogs that don't meet they don't meet the criteria. Those dogs ain't game dogs. They're still game dogs, right? Get what I'm saying now? So the DNA is going to change in 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. It's going to be a whole different blood type. No, that doesn't work like that. It don't work like that. Get what I'm saying? But you don't see the hoax in the situation. To a certain guy, because you on my page, you said that I lied, you said that I'm absolutely incorrect. Ask a question. Where them first dogs that they was doing this DNA test with? That's number one. Where did they come from? Because again, there's a pointed corso embarked at the test. Gregory Lewis, his dog Soldier, is pointed. The dog came back 100%. The Durham dogs, Vito Interview dogs, came back 100% due to the sizzle tempo lady. But the two dogs aren't the same. They're not bred the same. There's pinched nostrils, epilepsy, and poppy eyes, and bulldog traits coming out of the Interview lines. How can that be 100% corso when those dogs are not showing the traditional traits of the dog? Answer that. Answer that. You don't see that there's a catch-22 in the hoax here? You don't see that? The DNA has the master traits too. And it's not. There's too many holes. DNA could be used in a crime scene because it'll indicate the perpetrator who was there. There's no old school dogs. There's none left. Not saying that the traditional corso ain't still around and stuff like that. Italy, here in America, they still around. What I'm saying is old dogs like Kokomo and them dogs are not around no more. And then there are books written. We want to disregard the history, because this is what Toomey's trying to do, and some of the Molossola people are trying to do. Mr. Hubbard wrote a book, 1950s, about the Sicilian Bisharo. And he said that the Sicilian Bisharo comes pointed, which is Rottweiler coloring, and could look like a German Rottweiler. He tried to say that the bull baza, the bulletin baza, was like a cousin, which it wasn't. That was totally wrong. He got that wrong. But then again, the knowledge that was given back in the narrative, for what it was what it was, because there wasn't a lot of information known. But what I'm saying is that he said the two dogs were very similar in looks. The reason why they were similar in looks is because of the molosser blood. The Dugo Sardo comes pointed. There's a long coat and there's a short coat variety in the Dugo Sardo. So that's an indication right off the bat. There's molosser in that dog, a lot of molosser. It's not the bigger molosser because there's no wolves on Sardinia. So there's no need for the breed, the bigger counterparts of the dog. You can do a similarity test with molosser breeds. Corsos should look like a molosser dog. So, and the aspect of Corsos can't look like a different breed of dogs, it's partial true. They can look like other molosser dogs because there's going to be similarity. There's going to be a similarity in blood types, and there's going to be a similarity in traits and looks and behavior and etc. There's going to be similarities. The DNA still is crime scene. But if you don't have the perpetrator still alive, and there's no way you can get DNA evidence from the perpetrator, how do you substantiate the crime or associating that person with it? There's no, these old dogs aren't around no more. Kokomo and I'm talking about. And with the neo was concerned, there's no old school or traditional neos. These show neos totally went left with the breeding program. They totally off course. Those are not the traditional dogs. Those dogs didn't exist in Rome. Those dogs look nothing like the traditional dogs. That's what I'm saying. You talking about, yo, they a cousin breed. They come from the same common ancestor. They were the same dogs. Same dogs. A little division when France took over. A little division when certain fanciers decided to go with the Birdo and kept breeding to the Birdo. That didn't happen. But in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, 80s, and 90s, you still didn't see traditional Corsos in neo programs? You seen it. You seen it. Same breed of dog. It was the same breed of dog. Oh, the DNA is a hoax. It's to get suckers to buy into the story. Sizzler Tempo dogs and Gregory Lewis dogs are not the same dogs. How are both dogs coming back 100%? That should have been the red flag right there. Oh, we can see if there's pit bull in there, but you don't see the pit bull and the bulldog crosses in the Sizzler Tempo dogs? Really? Really? So show me the poppy-eyed molosser dog with the pinched nostril. Show me any molosser breed with those traits. Because the molosser still exists to today. The Emperor's still around. And the Sarabi dogs and the Kurdish Mastiff dogs are still around. And then you got the ancient Alant dogs that's still around. You got a little bit that's in Spain, straight muzzle dogs. None of the dewlaps hanging off the face. There's no pug blood in those dogs. And you got the Bully Cutter and other dogs that are Alant dogs, short coat, don't come long coat, that still exists. Where's all the dewlaps on the face? Where's that trait coming from? The DNA has to match the traits too. Too many holes. But you want to believe it like it's a crime scene. It's not. It's no perpetrator. You acting like it's paternity. It's not. The only thing it's good for is to make a marker today, right now. You can make a marker so this way in the future you can test dogs that doesn't, and now if they don't match up with the marker that we do today, then you can argue like, yo, you put something else in the dog, this and that and the third. But in the past, them dogs ain't around. So what you basing your facts on?